Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, going to be talking through some player props I like on Prizepicks for the NBA slate on Thursday, December the 22nd. Now we do have a small slate today. It's just a 2-game slate, so there's not going to be a ton of props to love today, guys. I'm just going to give out 2 picks in this video, and this 2-pick entry that I give out for today, this might be the only entry that I play on the slate. Just because on these small slates, I try not to overdo it. I try not to just force a bunch of entries. Especially because tomorrow on Friday we have a 14-game slate tomorrow, so obviously there'll be a lot more to like then. But for the 2-game slate today, I did find 2 picks that I liked. We're gonna share these 2 picks, guys. We're gonna share why I like them. Before we get started, though, as always, if you guys do enjoy these Prizepicks videos, make sure you hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to Prizepicks, if you have not signed up for Prizepicks yet, get signed up over there. Use promo code Noah. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100. When you do sign up with my promo code. We had a really rough day yesterday on Prizepicks, man. We had been rolling, to start the week, but yesterday was brutal on Wednesday. YouTube picks went 1-2, Patreon picks went 1-3. It was a really rough day overall yesterday, but hopefully we can bounce back on this small slate. Again, this 2-pick entry that I give out today is probably going to be all that I play. But you can take a look at the board, see if there's anything you like. For NFL, that we have an NFL game tonight if you want to take a look at props for that. But let's start off with the 2 picks I like for today, and they're both going to be fantasy score props. So we're going to focus on the Spurs-Pelicans game. Of the 2 games we have tonight, we got the Spurs and the Pelicans, and then we have the Wizards and the Jazz. Both these games are expected to be relatively competitive tonight. The Spurs-Pelicans game has an 8.5-point spread. Little bit of blowout risk in that game, but I think it is a game that can stay close, especially with the Pelicans being shorthanded tonight. No Zion, no Brandon Ingram. And then the Utah and Washington game has a 6-point spread. So I think that game probably will be competitive as well. Hopefully they'll be competitive. We had a lot of blowouts yesterday, which obviously was super brutal if you took a bunch of overs. But for the 2 games today, for the 2 picks I like, the first pick I like is going to be Jonas Valanciunas, 33.5 fantasy score. I do like the over here, and I know a lot of people see this number for Valanciunas and probably think, why would you take this over? Obviously, last game he went absolutely nuclear against the Bucks. He put up 67 fantasy points. He had I think 37 points. He took 12 threes. It was just crazy game from Jonas Valanciunas. But obviously, the reason I like this prop today is not because he had a good game last game. It's because the Pelicans are going to be really shorthanded today. No Brandon Ingram still, and no Zion Williamson as well. And it is worth noting that Larry Nance is questionable too. And Larry Nance being questionable, I think, is really important because Larry Nance is a guy that sometimes the Pelicans will play instead of Jonas Valanciunas, and you'll see a lot of games where the Pelicans will play Nance at center with J-Val on the bench. But I think with no Zion today, they're probably going to have to play J-Val 28-30 minutes. And there's definitely a chance that we could see them play J-Val and Larry Nance alongside each other. J-Val has historically been a really productive player when he gets minutes. The issue with him this season is that his minutes have just kind of been cut way down just because they have other guys they can play. They can play Zion at center. They can play Larry Nance at center. Well, they don't have Zion for today. They might not have Larry Nance either. The minutes should be there for J-Val. So far this season with with Zion and Brandon Ingram off the floor, surprisingly, J-Val's fantasy point per minute production really hasn't changed much. He's averaged 1.11 fantasy points per minute this season without Ingram and Zion on the floor. Whereas I think for the full year, he's averaged 1.15 fantasy points per minute. But if we look at last season J-Val averaged 1.26 fantasy points per minute without Zion and without Ingram. And I think that should be about where he averages for today, between 1.2 to 1.3 fantasy points per minute. And I think his minutes are going to be strong just because without Zion, they kind of need to give another big more minutes. And J-Val is a guy that can get a lot of those minutes at center. And obviously this is a really good matchup as well. The Spurs this season, in terms of defense, in terms of pace, they play at a really fast pace. They play at one of the fastest paces in the league. They're 8th in pace this season. And defensively, they've been the worst defensive team in the league. They're dead last in defensive rating. And we've seen J-Val have a lot of success against the Spurs so far this season. He's already faced the Spurs twice this year. Both games were with Zion. One of them was with Brandon Ingram. Last time they faced the Spurs, J-Val put up 40.2 fantasy points in only 25.5 minutes. And then the other time they faced San Antonio, J-Val put up 37 fantasy points in 26 minutes. So he's been over this line in both games against San Antonio. Both games were with Zion. One of the games was with Ingram. Now without Zion and without Ingram and potentially without Larry Nance, we could see J-Val be even more productive than normal, get even more minutes today. 33.5 fantasy points. I think this line is definitely a little bit too low. I could see J-Val easily going over this line. The minutes should be there, and that's what we really want when it comes to a guy like J-Val. We know he's going to be productive when he's on the floor. He just needs to get the minutes, and I think the minutes are going to be secure with the Pelicans so shorthanded today. So that is the first pick that I do like for today, and then the second pick that I like to go with that is going to be from the same game on the other side. Tre Jones, 28.5 fantasy score. I also like this over as well. We saw Tre Jones have a really good game last game against Houston. He didn't play his full minutes. That game did turn into a blowout. He got pulled a little bit early, I think with like 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. But he still put up 34.2 fantasy points in only like 29 minutes. And so far this season, with Keldon Johnson off the floor, Tre Jones has been really productive. And it is worth noting that the Spurs are most likely going to be without Keldon Johnson today. He is listed as doubtful, so he's not expected to play. And so far this season, with Keldon Johnson off the floor, Tre Jones has averaged 1.11 fantasy points per minute, 22.7% usage rate. So he's basically got the third highest usage rate on the team behind Devin Vassell and behind Josh Richardson. Usage has been strong. Fantasy point per minute production has been strong as well. And he's already played like a few games without Keldon Johnson this season. Last game, obviously, against Houston was without Keldon Johnson. He put up 34.2 fantasy points in 28 minutes in that game. Against Sacramento earlier this year, he put up 25.2 fantasy points in 29 minutes. So, there's been some games without Keldon where I think the Spurs have gotten blown out, and Tre Jones didn't play his full minutes, but he was still really productive on a permanent basis. Against the Raptors, he only played 22 minutes. That game was a massive blowout, but he still put up 28.1 fantasy points in only 22 minutes. And then against the Warriors, these were some games last season without Keldon. Against the Warriors, he put up 30.3 fantasy points in 33 minutes. Against the Pacers, he put up 47 fantasy points in 37 minutes. And then against the Heat, he put up 42.7 fantasy points in 36 minutes. So of his last 6 games without Keldon Johnson, he's gone over this line in 4 out of 6 games. One of the games where he went under, he only played 22 minutes, massive blowout. The other game against Sacramento, played 29 minutes. I think he also lost minutes in that game due to blowout. So if this game stays close and we get full, 33, 34 minutes from Tre Jones, I have a very good feeling he's going to go over this line. I think the way he goes under is probably because the Spurs get blown out here. But again, it's an 8.5 point spread, not too crazy. The Pelicans are a little bit shorthanded today. No Zion, no Ingram. Hopefully San Antonio can keep this game close. And I think if they do, Tre Jones, Devin Vassell, those are going to be the two guys that do a lot of the heavy lifting on offense. And Tre Jones is one of these guys that can do a little bit of everything when he's on the floor. He can score. He can get rebounds. He's a good assist man. He can also get steals, which is really important for fantasy score. Getting guys that can get steals and blocks is huge because those are worth 3 points each. And we've seen games this season where Tre Jones has had like 2 or 3 steals. So 28.5 fantasy score, really like this over. If he plays 33, 34 minutes today, which he should in a competitive game, he should average around a fantasy point per minute. I think this line should be like 31.5, 32.5. I definitely think 28.5 is a little bit too low. So these are the 2 picks that I do like for this Thursday slate, guys. 2-game slate. Not a ton to love today, I'll be honest, but these are the 2 picks I felt the best about from what's available on the board right now. I mean, pretty much the full board is posted. I think the only injury news we're waiting for today is the Larry Nance questionable news, and then Kristaps Porzingis is questionable for the Wizards. Other than that, I don't think there's like any other news we have to keep an eye on unless something random pops up. So we got the full board up, and you guys can take a look and see if there's any props you like. These are the 2 that I'm going to be running for today. If I decide to play anything else, I'll post those on Patreon, but for right now, I think this is probably going to be all that I play for this short slate. And obviously for tomorrow on Friday, we have a massive slate, so there'll be a lot more to like on Friday. There'll definitely be a ton of plays to love then. I'm probably going to give out a good amount of plays on Friday. But as always, guys, appreciate you watching the video, supporting the content. Hit that like button if you guys did enjoy. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And again, if you guys are new to Prizepicks, make sure to check them out and sign up with my promo code NOAH. You look at the bottom of the screen. When you do sign up with my promo code, you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. But as always, guys, best of luck on this slate tonight. Hope you guys all win some money. We'll see you guys again here tomorrow for Friday's big 14-game slate. Hopefully, we can all make some money then, make some money tonight as well. And I wish you guys, the best of luck. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.